Chancellor of Bennett University, Vineet Jain, Vice Chancellor, Registrar, faculty members, beloved students, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a pleasure for me to be at Bennett University. The need of the hour for our nation is comprehensive education. And just like you, as one can see, I also will get a degree. For yours, you work tirelessly. Mine, of course, is honorary. Bennett University serves the nation, so Times Group deserves commendation. The times we live in are very tough. The going can get very rough. The world is changing very fast, and nothing new seems like the past. So to survive in this rat race, new skills at a rapid pace must constantly be acquired to ensure that you're not fired. And what those future skills will be is difficult to foresee. And so you'll need agility, broader learning and flexibility, not just knowledge, but its application in an actual, real-life situation. Quite rarely alone, mostly in teams, and team dynamics, it seems, will be important for success. The specific knowledge might be less important than interacting well and knowing enough to tell what would be well worth a try. Experiment and adapt on the fly. Everywhere one often hears that usually the best of years are student years when you're learning, yet most of you will now be earning. New pressures will surely mount, but then what will really count is if you continue your student life, be friends with all, avoid all strife, and even while you're busy earning, make sure that you're always learning. Have lots of fun, but never shirk, and always try to enjoy your work. Indeed, if work becomes your passion, that's fine, or else try and fashion something else that is exciting. My hobby, which is writing amusing speeches all in verse, ensures I'm not verbose but terse. Keeps audiences and me entertained, and I do feel that much is gained. And carefully we should tread, but happiness should be spread. Happiness requires good health, but not success or much wealth. All studies shows that in the end, the more people that you befriend, the happier you yourself will be. One sees this very clearly. What goes around, comes around, is good advice that's very sound. And once you clearly understand our purpose is giving a helping hand, much happiness will come your way, as sure as night that follows day. According to Steven Pinker, and supported by many a thinker, the world's becoming a better place, though at a slow but steady pace. And yet there are problems for sure, and climate change is at the fore. Inequality is also dire, and may be getting much higher. If progress in all these is slow, the consequences are grave, we know. The abilities and constraints are such that governments can't do much. NGOs have few means but ability, and businesses have means but don't see these issues as part of their core. For profits is how they would score. But businesses slowly realize that profit is a short-term prize. After all, what do businesses gain if they die out and don't sustain? But how much can they afford to spend to ensure their existence doesn't end? The answer's not easy to find, but a thought still comes to my mind. If the efforts of all are combined, the synergies that we can find reduces costs and raises gain and obviates inevitable pain. There's a capitalistic strain that enthrones shareholder gain, and Milton Friedman could see that this simplistic philosophy could lead to great efficiency. But wherever there's externality, this capitalism, red in tooth and claw, can prove to be a dismal flaw. Correction can come from regulation, or even from self-remediation. And Adam Smith himself foresaw that business could address this flaw. It should be clearly understood. One can do well by doing good. Doing it smartly, we do better. So why not be the trendsetter? In Capital's early days, we see social responsibility in some degree. To dissipate the urban gloom, both Cadbury, Lord Leverhulme, then pioneered the company town. Some observers would surely frown at the extremely paternal attitude, but many might view it with gratitude. We should remember in that age, it compensated their lowly age. It's time to get the Tata Group now very much into the loop. Because it seemed morally right, the Tata Group then set its sight at such a very lofty height for what trade unions had to fight in Europe for several years was gifted by these worthy seers from the goodness of their heart. Undoubtedly, this played a part in honing their great reputation and then contributing to the nation. And doing good is very sound. What goes around comes around. Doing good isn't just a cost. The gain outweighs all that's lost. My grandfather probably saw these examples and found no flaw. He brought far away marshy land. His critics just couldn't understand. They concluded that he had gone quite mad. But today, we are glad, not sad. A township then slowly arose, and this is where our business grows. We provided every needed tool, housing, hospital, and school. My uncle, known as SPG, way back could clearly see the environment was under stress. Neglect, he knew, would be a mess. Our creekside land was reserved, the mangroves there well preserved, and from my office I gaze out there, a Mumbai view that's very rare, with greenery all the way until you sight New Bombay. And now and then with friends I float on a gently moving boat with pink flamingos in full flight. To my mind, a splendid sight. In saving tigers, he played a role. The environment was a major goal. And here I think that we all ought to pay careful heed to Michael Porter. With shared value, there's no cost. For doing good, as nothing's lost. All it takes is a thinking brain to remove a societal pain and combine it with a business gain to create a sustainable chain of endless mutual benefit. This concept is a tremendous hit. We thought that we should also try and see if we could apply this philosophy to our group. Our employees also joined the loop. In the year 2010, studies were commissioned, and then with the help of DASRA and FSG, our new program, one could see, we aptly named it Good and Green, and what a journey it has been. And how do we define our role? What could be a proper goal? Now the UN has a lengthy list, so in recounting some would be missed. So I will focus on just 3 that I think would be the key for all the others to fall in place and enable us to win the race. Good health through perfect sanitation, environment, and education. All of these can be seen in our program Good and Green. It is no longer climate change within a tolerable range. A crisis is what it's about, with fires, floods, as well as drought. Every week a constant blast, far worse than seen in the past. If we must, we will adapt. Prevention, though, would be more apt. There is a cost to adaptation. It's rising fast in every nation, as well as for the world at large. This will be a heavy charge. In fact, we should all conclude, prevention would be really shrewd. In practice, it would cost much less and avoid a lot of stress. All industries should play a role in the carbon neutral goal. GHG emissions should be reduced, more green energy should be produced, and so without partiality, our goal for all is neutrality, whether water, carbon, or solid waste. Very soon we will make haste to make our net emissions zero. Will this make the group a hero? In 2010, the goal looked tall, but we took a reasoned call. Technology would save the day. So far, it has turned out that way. To achieve these goals, we will strive to do it all by 2035. As technology takes a leap, green energy gets very cheap. Keen observers quickly saw that solar also tracks Moore's law. Whether groundnut shell or bagasse, our India's full of biomass. At first we thought we'd have to spend But that's not true, for in the end, more we thought, and the more we slaved, we did invest, but we also saved. And solar is still getting cheaper. And as we start getting deeper, in India it will hit the goal of being cheaper than even gold in just a handful of years. Already we and our peers are sourcing solar electricity at lower rates than from the utility. For quite some time we've been extorted as their finances aren't still sorted. A silver lining can be seen since it incentivizes greed. Our cost of water is not so high. Therefore, we attempt to try to reduce our water consumption. But all the same, it's a safe assumption our water use won't disappear. And so to be neutral, I fear, we will have to mitigate. So fortunately, I can state that developing a watershed doesn't cost much, and instead, our agribusiness can benefit. The government will do its bit, but where it fails, we'll fill the breach, and hopefully we will reach many farmers on the cheap. But the benefits that we reap will compensate for the cost, and once again, nothing's lost. There are many paths that we can see for achieving carbon neutrality, but the cheapest way is certainly through energy efficiency. Real interest rates are rather low, and high returns quickly flow from any energy-saving device. For business, this is very nice. Not only are returns quite brisk, there's also very little risk. In India, mandated CSR can help us go very far. Multiple benefits are what one sees with water projects or growing trees. Now, COVID opened up our eyes. Let's hope that we've become quite wise. We saw the benefits of green, but something else was also seen. The different outcomes we could see because of inequality. Can COVID then act as a spur? Now, couldn't it help to stir our hearts and minds to newer heights with ESG in our sights? The vision that we should now share is a brave new world, both green and fair. And the environment isn't all. On society, let's take a call. Throughout the chain, let's keep in sight every person's human right. It's business as usual, not bravery, to end child labor and slavery. And in all businesses, we should see the broadest reach of diversity. Not only is it fair and right, it would give us the best insight. Since life is full of many hard knocks, we need to think out of the box. Diversity is the perfect aid when we are required to wade through troubled waters or quagmires. Unusual thought is what inspires. Lack of health and education leads to the perpetuation of inequality through generations in almost all our nations. Without good health, you never learn. If you don't learn, you cannot earn. For health, as well as climate change, it certainly isn't strange that prevention's better than a cure. On public health, we should spend. It is much cheaper in the end. With little cost and greatest ease, we could reduce lifestyle disease. At any rate, I'm quite sure we would spend less than for a cure. In order to achieve this goal, businesses could play a role. Through business models and CSR, together we can go quite far. And similarly, through education, we can serve ourselves and the nation. We often think that charity can address disparity, but tackling health and education are better means for the alleviation. Through action and advocacy, we can help all humanity to create a world that's just and fair, and everyone is free to share nature's bounty and be fulfilled. And then I'm sure we'd all be thrilled. Ingeniously, we can plan it, serve profit, people, and planet. Sustainability is not a pain, for after all, it is a gain. It helps us all to survive, last long as well as to thrive. It's a license to operate. The ecosystem finds it great. Society, governments, banks cooperate, convey their thanks. Together with both heart and brain, sustainably, let's sustain. Now, ESG will take you far. Don't just be a shooting star, rising high before you fall. Instead, take the enduring call. All of us can forge ahead if only we learn to shed the barriers that can divide, and if cooperation tried. With the help of business, I foresee a helpful, thriving society. Thank you.